We are back once again here on the Cowboys Report. As expected, Jerry Jones spoke following the Zack Martin retirement press conference, and maybe not as expected, or maybe it was expected as well, not good news coming out of Jerry Jones' mouth. We'll break down all the things I don't like about what he said. Not that I'm surprised, but that I don't like it. Before we get to that, a chance to be positive. Zack Martin officially retiring today. Cowboys announced they will eventually put him in the Ring of Honor. Timing TBD. Maybe it's the same time as like Tyron Smith or something. But I want you guys to show Zack Martin some love by spamming 70 in the comments section of today's show. Now, Jerry and Steve, and we'll get to some of his comments too, had a couple main topics. 2025 free agency spending, a Micah Parsons extension, and a trade, maybe, as an option for the Cowboys. We'll break that all down. But I want to begin with the free agency side of things. Jerry Jones, once again, made it sound like the Cowboys will not be a player in free agency. He was asked about, think you'll be aggressive after the selectively aggressive clip from Steven, of course, got going again. Here's what Jerry said. I don't think aggressive is the right word. I'm not looking at free agency as a place to fill voids. With Jerry saying he doesn't think this team has needs to fill in free agency. So the rant I'm about to go on doesn't come from a place of me being surprised. But it does mean I'm still mad about this. Because I can't stand this crap from the Cowboys front office. This is nonsense team building. You don't think you have any needs? You think you can fill all your holes in the draft? You need one or two backs. You need a receiver. You need another offensive lineman, at least a guard. You need at least one or two linebackers. You need two defensive linemen. You need a corner. You need an edge rusher. That you don't have the picks for that. To think you can fill all of those needs, even if you re-sign some of your own players, is a joke. It's delusional. It is delusional to think you can fill all of your needs simply by the draft. Because you know what happens? Some of those late day 2, early day 3 picks, it takes them a while to get going. And then they become free agents. And then you got to pay them. And you don't always pay the guys you lose. Like, are you going to retain Chauncey Golston? You have 3 picks in the top 145 selections right now. Maybe it changes. Maybe it doesn't. You're going to tell me you can fix running back, receiver, offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, corner, if only for depth needs with 3 picks in the top 145? Come on. Be serious. Be serious about your team building. Be serious about winning games and not just doing the minimum to kind of have a contending team and hang around the NFC East. Come on. That's a joke. That's embarrassing. No other NFL GM thinks that way. Not a single one. Now, I'm obviously very mad at Jerry Jones, and I'm sure many of you are too. If you are, you can spam FJJ for F Jerry Jones at the pinned comment of today's show. The ad comes on YouTube. Take advantage of it. Head down there and maybe type it a few times if you want. Now, Jerry also had an update, if we can even call it that, on the Micah Parsons situation, which we've also got an update on that as it relates to the new price point. We'll get to that here in a little bit. Here's what Nick Harris, who had the full quote, good details there from Nick and John Mancho and others who will show. Jerry says there are terms and things to work through before getting Micah's deal done. He doesn't see it as something that will get in the way of free agency. I don't believe that not signing Dak or not signing Lamb hurt us in free agency last year at all. I will come back to that quote in a little bit, but I want to start with the Micah stuff. I read that as it's not happening this week. It's not going to happen in time for free agency because, well, it didn't impact us with Lamb and Dak, so it's not going to impact us this time around. That's how I read it. And I hope I'm wrong on that. I hope the Cowboys don't do stuff. I hope they get stuff done and make things happen. That is what I hope. It is better for the Cowboys to not wait. That is better. And we just saw another example of why it is better to not wait. Because Max Crosby just became the highest paid non-QB in the NFL, like 20 minutes ago, if that, at $35.5 million per year. It was Nick Bosa at 34 among defensive ends. Justin Jefferson's getting $35 million. You were already in this market, but if you were hoping, well, maybe Micah just takes a little bit less than the most per year, that number went up a little bit. So if the Cowboys ever learned their lesson about being proactive and getting deals done early for the players they view as long-term franchise cornerstones. Now, look, I want to go back to that quote from Jerry Jones in a second here and go more in depth on it. And I want to go into Stephen Jones's comments here as well, as part of this whole conversation. But I want to remind everyone I am an unhappy camper right now, and I need to see them do things before I have faith in them, because I don't trust the Jones boys right now, Jerry and Stephen. How do you feel about the current situation with the front office? Do you trust Jerry or Stephen? Why for yes and for no? Go vote in the comments section of today's show. Again, this is what Jerry said. I don't believe that not signing Dak or not signing Lamb hurt us in free agency at all last year. This is insane to me, because it means one of two things. They're lying, or they didn't have any intention, period, of signing anybody. The Cowboys did nothing in free agency last year. They've already done more, frankly, this year than what they did last season by paying Osa. Whether you like that or not, that's fine. They got bailed out with Eric Kendricks. They got lucky. Kendricks said, actually, I'm not going to sign with the Niners. I'll sign with the Cowboys instead, and I think Mike Zimmer had a pretty big role in that. This front office, this organization needs to show that they care about winning. And it has been proven year in and year out for a long time now that their system doesn't work. You cannot only address with bargain bin free agency signings. You have to do things. You have to spend more than $5 million per year on an outside free agent for the first time in nearly 10 years. You have to. You have to. Or else, because you're never going to draft well enough. Look at every single Super Bowl winning team. All of them had outside help. To think you don't need that is delusional. Now, whether we actually get signings or if we just need to vent and rant and have therapy sessions, we will be live for NFL free agency. So don't miss out. Hit that sub button at youtube.com/@CowboysTV. Now, Stephen Jones also had stuff to say on Micah Parsons, asked, are you going to try to get the Micah deal done early? Which I would actually argue, we're already past getting it done early. This is now getting it done on time. Otherwise, at this point, we're getting to it late. That's my opinion. Stephen said that's always the goal. The goal was to do CeeDee's contract early. That's always the goal, to get it done when you can get it. You sure as shit don't act like it's the goal, though, Stephen. You did not try hard with CeeDee Lamb. You did not meet with his group at the Combine. You met with Micah's group this year. That's promising. But I'm sick and tired of being gaslit by this franchise, of repeatedly being sold a false bill of goods. Then they do nothing and say, our money, our salary cap. Go spend. You view yourself as a contender? Act like it. Go act like it. I would love to believe it's undersell and over deliver in the end. I know they just opened up the Dak Prescott restructure, freeing up just under $37 million. That's great. You got 56 and change million. Cool. Go spend. Because your words in recent years have not led to actions that I want, that all of us want. I would like to see that happen this time around. Otherwise, I just don't know what we're doing here. You can't build a team only through the draft. You've got Todd Archer just tweeted it out. They just restructured the deal of Dak. You got $56 million. Go freaking spend some of it. So with that in mind, how many outside free agents will the Dallas Cowboys sign? Let me know in the comments section of today's show. There's also trade talks there for the Cowboys. Jerry implied that a trade is on the table this offseason for the Cowboys. Steven kind of talked about it here as well. Here's what Nick Harris, Jerry said. So shout out to Nick for the quote. Jerry says draft picks this time of the year at a premium and could be used a lot more in a trade. He says the team has bait out on trade possibilities, but will wait for other teams to come to them. I don't really know what to make of this, quite frankly. It's kind of weird for your GM to say, yeah, we got bait out there, and then other teams will go, okay, well, that's the bait. I think that's kind of a weird thing. Is it just empty words? Is it just nonsense he's speaking? We know they don't like making calls. They've said they don't want to be the one to pick up the phone and make calls because they think that lessens their value there. In reality, adding Stephon Gilmore and Brandon Cooks and not really doing much else was going all in for them. That was them being aggressive and adding talent by their standards. Not our standards, not the Eagles' standards, but our standards. Or their standards, excuse me. John Machota had this from Stephen Jones. Mentioning Cooks and Gilmore, we go to teams all the time. We're fishing and looking for an efficient move that makes sense from a draft pick standpoint and a salary cap standpoint. We're always in the market for that. Last year was a real exception because staring down the barrel, which most people don't have, getting Dak signed, getting CD signed, ultimately getting Micah signed, which was still our goal. So first off, again, it's the, woe is us bullshit that I'm tired of hearing from Steven. Pay your guys on time. It's not a problem. And then Nick Harris also mentioned this from Stephen Jones. We're looking for what fits and what works for us. Big names, in my mind, aren't always the answer. Big names don't always pan out as well. Now that it's doing bargain bin shopping. So here's my advice. Unsolicited advice this is why they don't invite me on the bus. Shut up and do good work. It's all words right now. Free agency starts in less than a week. I would like to believe that they will do stuff. That they will actually make additions, add talent. They've got $56 million plus now after restructuring Dak Prescott moments ago. That's great. Go spend it. Not just on your own guys, but outside guys. So otherwise, are we being a serious team or not? And I want to believe they will do it. I have to see it before I believe it. Otherwise, I don't trust their words of not spending money because they don't spend money anyway.